Jennifer Lawrence is funny, you know what I mean? So like she jumps up with a knife to her baby, then she strokes its head, she drops the knife and the knife to cut the cake, you know, and it's like, and they were really open. They were really like, okay, because the first scene I did was the sex scene that's in the film, and it's like to do a sex scene in the first day is like completely bonkers. But I've known before, like I've left those things like it's a difficult scene, we leave it till later, and then everybody gets into this, oh my God, overthinking it. So I thought, it's a risk, but I'll try it up front. So I just went, you know what, I'll try it. It's probably going to be a disaster. And I'm shitting myself. I'm like, no fucking way, this is a nightmare. Why did I do this? And I got them to do a little dance first. I was getting them to do dance lessons. I don't know why. And then just to get into each other. There was an insight. And then they're doing the sex scene and they're both like, what the fuck? He's like, you mean naked? Really naked? And I'm going, yeah, really naked? And she's like, right. And they're both like, right, okay, you know. But they do it and it kind of broke the ice in the whole relationship. It was like, they were it, you know, there was a chemistry and it was good and it was like smash, they were into it, yeah? And it was a good idea, but it could have been a really very bad idea.
Each time we see the cake, there's almost some like ironic counterpoint where it's not the thing is supposed to be celebrated at hand is not happening. And I just thought that using cake to do that was a fantastic thing because it also represents celebration and domesticity. And there's no celebration and no domesticity in her life. So using that as this kind of visual metaphor, I thought was astonishing.
No one's ever actually seen that before. That's actually, thank you.
Oh, really? Nobody's ever said that before?
No.
It's interesting you left home to make a movie about your old home in your first film, and then your second film about somebody who's trying to find a place to perch that feels like a home.
Yeah.
And then you make another film about somebody who invades other people's homes.
Yeah. I suppose I'm seeing a theme here, yeah.
And then with Kevin, I think it's about what it feels like when what's supposed to be your home is never your home. I mean, that's for him. And I think that's why when you say you thought this was like Kevin, no, it's nothing like that to me, because that's about a lost soul. And this is about somebody who knows who she is, but she just doesn't want to be where she is.
I never thought about that, the idea that you're saying about the connection between them. I said, this is really interesting. God, you're like a therapist, Elvis.
Lynne Ramsay.
Thanks so much. Thanks, everyone.
And I couldn't help but think that first scene, there's a line early in the book. She wrote, "Take me, I'm an educated woman, and I'm more of an animal than any of these dead foxes or anything else around here." And that line stuck with me. And I wondered, because it's so much about you capturing you and the incredible performance by Jennifer Lawrence, but just this animal nature in herself that she can't shake. And as much as we're talking about it being, you know, people talking about being about postpartum and about this other thing that happens to her, it's also about her fighting her animal nature. And I think that's actually something you're attracted to anyway in creating characters, isn't it? Yeah,
aren't we all fighting our animal nature?
No, I'm too cool for that. But
no, you're not.
No, okay, whatever you say.
But I thought, like, to be honest, I think the thing I really liked with the book, and I didn't even remember that line, was that it starts off with her, you know, like, and she's masturbating.
Oh gosh, yeah, she said, "Here I am with my hands in my pants. I'm responsible for my son's education."
Yeah, and she's watching her husband
and her baby, yes.
Her baby, like almost like from afar, as if she was like looking through a window, you know.
Yeah.
Which gave me the idea of her being kind of animalistic in the cat. Yeah, so there was a lot of kind of, I mean, because the book's amazing, but it's very, it's very about this beautiful writing. It's actually quite hard to get through because it jumps time. And so I gave it a few friends, and they were like, "I can't get through this," but like, see the opening is wild, and I think this whole postpartum thing is just a complete like it's bullshit, because it's not about that. I think it's about a relationship breaking down, it's about love breaking down, it's about sex breaking down when you have a baby sometimes, and also about like a creative block, you know. So
yeah, because she talks about that. I'm a writer, but a writer no more. I mean, there's all these things that are in conflict with each other.
Yeah.
But it's to your point, it's also a really interior monologue. And as I was reading, I just thought, how in God's name is she going to turn this? Well, I had the same feeling about Morphin Collar, which is very different from the book too.
Yeah. Well, I was Jennifer said she wanted to work with me, and she said me, and I was like, I'm not doing this. You know, I want to do. Yeah, I've done Kevin. I'd like to do something light actually, and I was like, maybe it's too in that territory. But then I started looking at the texture a bit more, and then like by chance, like because I probably didn't get back to her for 6 months. I mean, it's Jennifer Lawrence emails you, and I'm like, okay, yeah, fine. I've read the book. Don't know, and then like didn't really get back to her. I just went, oh well, you know, maybe I said something like I'm not sure about this. I'm not sure. And then it was cool because about 6 months later, I contacted her, like a woman she works with who's a producer called Justine Karayoshi, and she said, what about this Dying My Love thing? It was a random thing. I contacted her because for something else. And she said, oh, what about this Dying My Love? And I said, well, I don't want to do something like Kevin. I don't want to do something like that. You know, because, you know, people like to box things. They like to box things and, you know, like, oh, it's a postnatal thing, so this thing and blah, blah, blah. This thing was just a wild thing. And so I just was like, okay, I'll try it as an experiment. I'll write a first draft. I will, I don't know if it's going to work. It's probably going to be crap, but let's see, yeah? And then I just was like, and then I thought, I'm going to do it like a love story. But, you know, like a relationship, you know, when you have a baby and everything crumbles and you stop having sex and, do you know what I mean? And she's trying to write something, but she can't write. And also they came from New York and got this free house somewhere in the sticks in Montana, and she's totally isolated, and just the whole world starts to crumble a little bit. And so, and I think that's a familiar and really relatable thing because, you know, anyone that has kids, it's like your sex life's out the window. You're fucked the whole time. You're sleep deprived. You know, it's like it's much more like a big deal than you think it's ever going to be, especially the first one. So they're kind of like in my backstory. It was like he's a kind of trying to make it in a band in New York. She's probably written a couple of things that get published. They get this free house. It's all hope. And then it's like, fuck. You know? And so I thought of The Shining, I thought of Repulsion, I thought of a lot of movies like that.
I thought Repulsion too.
Yeah.
Especially when I see with the knife, which is from the book as well. But you see with the knife, I really thought Repulsion.
Yeah. I mean, that, looking at the family from the outside was very much from the book, but this crawling like a cat was something I was like, okay, just make it an animal, like, and make it funny as well, because she's naturally funny. Jennifer Lawrence is funny, you know what I mean? So like, she jumps up with a knife to her baby, then she strokes its head, she drops the knife and the knife to cut the cake, you know, and it's like, it's super cool. And like, I mean, and they were really open. They were really like, okay, because the first scene I did was the sex scene that's in the film. And it's like, to do a sex scene in the first day is like completely bonkers. But I have known before, like, I've left those things, like, it's a difficult scene. We leave it till later. And then everybody gets into this, oh my God, overthinking it. So I thought, it's a risk, but I'll try it up front. So I just went, you know what? I'll try it. It's probably going to be a disaster. And I'm shitting myself. I'm like, no fucking way. This is a nightmare. Why did I do this? And I got them to do a little dance first. I was getting them to do dance lessons. I don't know why. And then just to get into each other. But there was an insight. And then they're doing the sex scene and they're both like, what the fuck? And he's like, you mean naked? Really naked? And I'm going, yeah, really naked? And she's like, right. And they're both like, right, okay, you know. But they do it and it kind of broke the ice of the whole relationship. It was like, they were you know, there was a chemistry and it was good and it was like smash that we're into it, yeah? And it was a good idea, but it could have been a really very bad idea. It was either way. And that sort of started the whole process where they thought, God, she's a lunatic, you know what I mean?
But it's funny because one of the things I wanted to ask you about, and you just led me to it with that beautiful explanation of making that first day of the shoot, is that I see a lot of you in this character, analyzing yourself as you're doing something that you shouldn't be doing. Yeah. And I don't know you that well, but we've had enough talks, especially like drunken talks here, that I can, you so often saying, this crazy thing, and then you talk about it, and you take pleasure in telling the story, even though you're saying, I should never have done this, and this is a crazy thing to do. And that character, I thought the thing you connected to was her constant sort of narration of what she's doing and judging herself while she's doing it, but still doing it.
Yeah.
And there's some of you in that.
Oh, there definitely is. It's like the anarchists burning down the house. It's like, I mean, to me, I always saw, I mean, there's a scene in the film where she goes to this supermarket, like it's a kind of I suppose a garage or something, like, and there's like music playing, and there's this lovely young girl who's going, what a lovely baby, alrighty, $5 for 2 packs of mac and cheese, and it's like, why don't you take 2? And like she's talking all this shit to her, and she's like, do you need to talk? Why do you need to talk? You're just saying blah blah blah, and it's so brutal, like, to this girl, but it's the truth. It's the truth. It's like, this is all platitudes. This is all bollocks. You're talking shit to me. Why are we talking shit? You don't need to talk shit. It's okay. You'll be out of here in 5 minutes. You don't need to say anything. You know what I mean? So, and Jennifer just played it like, bam, and it's just, I mean, I had to shoot it really quite quickly, but the kids that plays the kind of, she's working there, like, she was amazing as well.
Oh, she's so good. Because she's playing, she's not playing as platitude. She's actually in that moment.
Yeah.
And she thinks if she keeps talking like this, that she'll just make this woman go, oh, well, of course you're right.
But that's what people talk about. They talk shit, right? And it's like, hello, your baby looks cute, blah, 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 blah. And she just kind of was like, I'll be out of here in 5 seconds. Why do we need to talk? I mean, because it's just the raw bullshit that we do every day. And so I guess in that sense, I always saw Grace as a kind of anarchist. Like, and she goes to a pool party where everyone's like, hi, how you doing? Blah, blah, blah. I heard you this. And, you postnatal depression, but, or blah, blah, blah. I heard you're a writer. And she's like, fuck this. And she just takes all her clothes off and gets on the, goes in her underwear and jumps in the pool with all these kids. And her husband's totally furious with her. And all she cares about is the cakes, because they brought cakes and no one ate them. But they all, everyone else's cakes. And she's like, what about our cakes? We never ate our cakes, the crap cakes, And so it's just about these everyday, like, kind of, mad shit. I mean, I also thought about Spencer Tracy and Katharine Hepburn, arguments that are mental, but funny. Yeah. Crazy, but funny.
You sure?
And that also he loves her, but he just doesn't know what to do, And things like Women Under the Influence as well came in.
It definitely feels like that. Yeah. It's like that with the roles being reversed.
Yeah.
Where, I shouldn't say reversed, but where she's like...
That's an interesting...
Yeah. Because I think that part of it too is just that, in that scene, which is something I was going to bring up too, that's a real sort of condensation of the character in the book. Again, and you, was I'm not here to talk to you. I'm here to buy something. But to be so specific and so brutal in that specificity, because she's like that in the book. She's constantly judging herself for doing the wrong thing.
Yeah.
Again, it never stops her. Yeah. And even in that scene, you can almost see the thought balloon over her saying, I shouldn't be doing this, but I don't want to be here. She doesn't want to be here. If she lets me go, then at least one of us doesn't have to be here anymore. Yeah.
There's a truth in that. There's almost like a kind of slightly on the spectrum, my nephew's got Asperger's, and you just say it how it is, You're sexy. You get big tits. You're going to do shit here. He'll just say it like, you ever known anyone with autism or Asperger's? They'll just be like, they'll say absolute truth. Absolute truth. And so I think I thought of her as saying absolute truth. Yes, she judges herself, and yet there's a bit of, there's a bit of me in it in terms of like how, just like, there's so much bullshit in this world, like you can't get through, and then sometimes you just got to speak the truth, and that's, I'm not saying I'm speaking the truth, I'm just saying that it's good to sort of, I don't know, just challenge it sometimes too.
But I think though, the length to which your characters go to avoid like having banal contact. Yeah. It's in all the movies. At some point somebody reacts bad to that kind of thing. Yeah. And in fact, in More of a Cup, she spends her entire time avoiding that kind of contact with people. Yeah. And Joaquin, his lack of patience for any of that kind of conversation. Yeah. But I just felt like and I think there's something of you in all the films, but I just really felt like I was seeing a version of you that I had never seen in this way before, that made me think that so I was shocked to hear that you had a hard time getting through the book, because I was going through it thinking, oh my God, this is written for her to do.
No, I don't know. I think I was going. The book was like a dream. You know, it was like the narrative, like it was spinning. It was very surreal, but it was very truthful. I mean, like some crazy arguments, some crazy scenes in it. But I just every time I would hear this, because people like to put labels and stuff. Like, oh, it's a postpartum book. Oh, it's about depression. To me, it was about anarchy. It was totally about anarchy. It was about like, let's burn the house down. Yeah. And
but I mean,
that,
even
you know,
but her being like a cat even is the reason the dog is reacting so bad to her, because she's being a cat.
Yeah, yeah. That's the
But I mean, there's so much, and that sort of sense of this is the last bastion of wildness I get to express.
Yeah.
And there's even that again in the beginning of the book where she's sort of like bemoaning what's happening to her.
Yeah.
Because again, it's not, and you can tell from people writing or talking about it that they haven't read the book, because it really is this, you taking away the foundation of the book and that character and playing it out in this way, because it's not even set in America. So by doing that and moving it, also there's an impatience in her. And
definitely.
Yeah, and Jennifer's ability to play that, because she's never done anything like this before, where she's had to play impatience. And she really like steps up to it.
Yeah. It's all about trust, that. It's all about trust. I mean, everything you do with working with actors is about trust. If they don't trust you and you don't trust them, then it's going to be bad, yeah. But if you trust them and they trust you implicitly, like, you can go places that you've never been. I mean, one scene we had was a big, long scene where he asked her to marry him, you know. And in the scene, it was they were flipping some burgers outside the house and all that sort of stuff. And me and the DP, James McGarvey, who's an amazing DP, it was like the light was going down. We had 1.5 hours. There was all sorts of problems. Things had broken down. And we had this 3-page scene to shoot, which is normally would take you a day, yeah. So we've got 1.5 hours now. So he's lying down in the grass, flipping out. He's stressing out. And I come over and I lie in the grass with him, and we both look at each other, and I said, and he went, I said, what if she's been like the cat through the grass, and then he comes through the grass, and then he asked him, you know, like, he said, yeah, I say marry her then, fuck the dialogue, and he's like, fuck, this is brilliant, and the lights come down, it's magic here, and I'm like, wow. And then I talked to the producer, and she says, you might need to talk to the actors about that, that's a whole scene's going. And I'm like, okay, run back to the guy, but they're like, Robert, forget the whole scene, would you be a cat, would you come to, and he's like, what the fuck? And then she's like, then I go to her and I say, what about that? And she goes, that sounds great, you know. So, and then we all run it and we do it and we shoot it in about half an hour, and it's brilliant and it's beautiful and it's much better than the scene we had planned. And because of the necessity, you know, of, you know, like, is the mother of invention or whatever, you know, we had no time. And sometimes you just need to do this idea, because it was literally, we got that idea with me and the DP, exhausted DP, and the exhausted me going, we don't have enough time to shoot this scene. Look at the grass, isn't it beautiful? Oh, wow. That could be good, you know what I mean? It was so nice, you know, and I think it's really, that made the scene in a way, you know, better than it ever had been in the script, you know.
But it's also interesting too, because he can be such a precise physical actor. I mean, he can be very, very precise. Yeah. And so there's something about his character wanting to be precise, but not being able to be it. Yeah. So he was sort of playing against his gifts.
Yeah,
Interesting to watch too.
It was. I mean, he even more trouble with that scene, because he was like, I liked the dialogue, and that, what the hell are you doing? But then he went, okay. And it's really nice when an actor can go, even though if it's against their instinct, even at anything, like, they just go, right, all right, okay, I trust you. And then he says to me, I love that scene, you know. But at first, I think he thought, but the dialogue was great in the scene, and it was a good scene, you know. But it was like, literally, I mean, we're shooting a reversal film stock, which is we're shot in film, and it's a certain film stock where if you go one stop over or one stop under or a couple of stops under, it goes black, yeah? So basically we're going, it's 6 o'clock, and I think this scene is going to be, there's no exposure. So but I love those moments when you've gone to your head a bit and then you come up with these crazy ideas. But it's to do with the DP lying in the grass, like almost like in tears, like thinking how we could, not in tears, but he was just excited, he was just like, and he's funny, and I don't know, we realised it was a creative thing, like making a painting. It was like, okay, that doesn't work, like fuck that. Let's just go for the next time. Like, let's be inventive and on the spot. But you need the actors to be with you to do that, and because you could run up to an actor and they'd be like, what do you mean? That was a great scene. How dare you do that to me? That was my big moment, and stuff. So that's the fact they trusted me that much was cool,
I think because you were talking about the birthday party, there's a kind of a recurrent thing with her and cake in the movie.
Yeah, cakes.
Which is each.
Oh God, actually now I'm seeing that. Okay.
Yeah, well, there is, and each of those sequences when there's cake around is about her being in a different emotional state, which I thought was really interesting to sort of put cake in those scenes because at no point does it ever represent what's supposed to represent in the scene, but rather it's about her reaction to what's going on around her.
Well, I think there was this whole thing I kind of started thinking about, like, when you're a good mum, you bake cakes, where she buys this crappy cake at the beginning and it's too sweet. And then she goes to the party where the cakes are falling over in the corner, they're all bashed and everyone else has made nice cakes. And then at the end, she makes a lovely cake. But she's like, fuck this, I'm out of here, I'm going to the forest, you know what I mean? So there's this scene where she plays, it's almost a set for a wife kind of scene where she goes, okay, I'm going to play along with this stuff. I'll bake the cake, I'll be a good mum. There's even a line in the film, she goes, a real mum would have baked a cake, And all they've done is, because I think she doesn't feel quite like she's real, and that's a really astute point. And there's and one of this, there's a scene at the end actually, which is all about, she makes a cake that says mummy's home, but is she really home? I don't know.
Yeah, but again, in each of those, each time we see the cake, there's almost some like ironic counterpoint where it's not the thing that's supposed to be celebrated at hand is not happening. And I just thought that using cake to do that was a fantastic thing because it's supposed to represent celebration and domesticity. And there's no celebration and no domesticity in her life. So using that as this kind of visual metaphor that I thought was astonishing.
No one's ever actually seen that before. That's actually, thank you.
Oh, really? Nobody's ever said that before?
No.
Okay.
No, but that's good. That's good because that's what I was thinking while I was making the film. So it was quite strange, that you said that,
Oh, okay. Well, I feel like it's kind of hard to admit.
Film director.
That's really lost on them. But I think what's fascinating about the film too is that the anarchy you're talking about is that the way the music is played in the film is, I think the way she hears it, it's so loud and so percussive. There's a lot of high end in it. Certainly it's throbbing, but it's a lot of high end music.
Yeah, I had 5 days to do the mix. I think I need just that. But no, I like it.
But do you want it to be like that? Because I feel like so often music doesn't make sense in movies because people try to sort of use it in some sort of textural way. But I always think it should be either the way the characters hear it or the way it would sound in real life. And that's the way music sounds in her head.
Yeah.
And that scene where she's rejecting the guitar, I think it's because it's not the volume she wants to hear. And she pushes it away. If something's not the way she wants at the moment, she completely rejects it, which is...
And then completely forgets and says, I know, I love guitars. When did I say that? When did I ever say I hated guitars, It's like it's a crazy thing, so... but sorry to interrupt, go on.
No. I thought, again, there are so many ways that you use film language, grammar, to indicate her emotional states. And it takes me back to Ratcatcher because you did it so beautifully there. And I thought you've always had this affinity for letting us know how people feel without them saying it directly, but by making it part of the texture of the film.
Yeah, I'm probably a frustrated musician, so I honestly, no, I love music. I think music and sound transport you different worlds that you don't know about, Everybody understands music is a universal language.
Sure.
Like, you can speak, anyone knows a beat, Anyone knows, like, when sound designers at last sound in their heads. David Lynch is a master of that.
Oh, sure.
But I kind of tend to listen to music a lot. I listen to music more than I watch films, and I started getting this idea that if I like a track, like I really get into the Fontaines DC lately, and I played the same track over and over and over and over again. And all my friends were saying, I'm not coming out to your house anymore. Fuck you. Can you stop playing that track? Because I'll just get really into a track and I'll kind of make it die, you know? So the track was called I Love You by the Fontaines DC, and I was just like mesmerised by it. I just kept, so there's a scene in the film where she plays Hey Mickey, which is I feel that this couple have quite a good record collection. They came from New York, they're probably quite hipster, probably lived in a pretty shitty part because they don't have much money and stuff, and they get this free house.
And they're playing records, by the way. We make it clear it's vinyl.
Yeah, it's vinyl. I think he's into music, and so it's vinyl, and like the hipster analog. I mean, I get a brilliant music collection, but it's all on CD, and I'm so fucked off with myself. I was like, why didn't I buy records? You know what I mean? So like, because they said it doesn't skip a beat. No, they bloody well do. I mean, I had a few parties, man, like where I remember I woke up and my whole CD collection was covered with yogurt and cakes and bits, and those dead bodies, right? The bodies all around it. And I was like, and then they jumped. I was like, my CD jumped, But basically, there's a sequence in the film where she plays Hey Mickey, like this crazy song, by Tony Basil. And she plays it again and again. But you don't know she does that, but it jumps, it skips a beat.
No, you can hear it, yeah.
And then it kind of, it's a bit, I did it a little bit and you were never really here as well, where I skip frames, So, but this is quite interesting because you're like, I was thinking, the reason I got that idea is because I was like, I play the same record. I'm really into Aurora right now. And I've been playing, It Happened Quiet, like again and again and again. And no one wants to come near me, like, please do not play that track again. But I was thinking, in her state of mind, it's like, she plays the same track, and then it's later, and you drop the volume, you bring the volume up, and then you bring all the hiss, and so it has this kind of strange effect where time passes, and it's really cool, So I was kind of thinking about how to use music as a time device as well,
Well, I mean, you're taking back to Morven Collar, that's a good
soundtrack.
No, that's a great soundtrack.
If anyone wants to do that on vinyl, I'm up for it. Any record producers or anybody making vinyl here, I want Morven Collar. Right, okay, can we do it on vinyl? Because it's on CD. We don't want CD. We want a vinyl. That.
You really want a vinyl, I mean.
Yeah. Vinyl records, if you want to do that, it's a great soundtrack. And it's still...
Well, we'll see that for his interview. But
I'll do that.
but that's also about the songs sort of communicating an emotional state. I mean, and the very specifically chosen for that. And I think what's great about the way you choose music, because again, and you were never ever just. We know what everybody's feeling, but not only what they're hearing, but the way they hear it.
Yeah.
And the way it's modulated and the way certain instruments are sort of emphasized. Like we just was hearing, I never realized there's a little bit of like this kind of weird sort of time disconnection.
But that's a subconscious thing, like music, that you don't really realize, but then you kind of do, you know what I mean? So.
But hearing it repeat like that, you go, oh, it is there. It is there. And it's this other thing, and we've talked about this, but I want to bring it up here because it's really a part of this, is you make music about the way people react to the places where they live. And if the place doesn't feel like a home, like, again, Ratcatcher, which is a house, but it doesn't feel like a home to people. And this is a house. And she goes to visit her extended family through her husband. That feels more like a house than her place does. Mm. But even that, I mean, that's the repulsion thing for me, where she's trying to kill the fly. That's definitely, that could be why I have repulsion. But she doesn't quite know what to do with a place that seems more like a home than where she lives. Mm. I mean, for you, the idea of depicting home is you have a real affinity for doing that in a way that I think people could connect with.
Mm. What is home? No? I mean, that's the question, that I moved away when I was quite 16. I was like, I'm getting out of Dodge, man. These people are insane. So, my mother was wonderful, and my father as well, but like, my family was mental. I mean, they were crazy. Like, my sister's one's a school teacher and one's an ex-undercover cop. And
wait, what?
She was an undercover cop. Now, they're so boss ladies, and you're just like, get me out of here. I can't stand all these bosses, But it's just like a big Italian family. I have a lot of Italian friends because I think Scots and Italian and Spanish and stuff you know, kind of had an affinity, you know, because it's like crazy families, and everyone when I was a kid thought I was deaf because they would all be arguing, and I just like watching something like on the TV. My mum would like show me a really good movie, and I'd be like, man, this is cool, and I just shut up, and they'd be like, Lynne, 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 and shouting at me, and I'd be like, whatever. And then my mum tested my ears because she thought I was deaf. I was like, what the fuck? I was just like kind of zoning out of this kind of craziness around me. But I don't know, like I'm just so I think, I don't know, home, what's home? I mean, I moved away I think when you move away, you see what home is, you know. I went to London, and then I was able to make a film about Scotland when I went to London. I went away, you know, like I've made quite a few films in America. I lived in New York for a little while, and I don't know, it was like the perspective of a foreigner on a different place, you know, and that's always really nice. I always loved, there's a filmmaker called Nicholas Roeg, and to me, well, hopefully everyone knows, and he was really interesting because I think he had a perspective of a foreigner. He went to Australia, he made Walkabout, he made certain films, and you know, he was very adaptable to different countries. I hate when people do that kind of social realism stuff, like, oh, you're British and you make these films, and it's when I made my first film, it was all like, it's a kitchen sink, and I'm like, no, it's not. It's magic realism. It's like, it doesn't, I come from here, by the way. I'm not trying to impose style. And then I made More Than Colour, which is completely bonkers, set in Spain and Scotland. It was a bit ahead of its time because it was about two young girls who just running riot, and I just don't think the film distributors knew what to do with it. They were like, where are the lesbian sex scenes? And I was like, nah, it's not about that. It's about this friendship between these two girls. They wanted, it was a different time. And I think I fought a lot for the poster, and I wish I hadn't. Like, it's a cool poster though. And then they got pissed off. I dumped the film. That film's 25, maybe 26 years old. And it still played. I saw it like a year ago or 2 years ago with Samantha Morton.
Who was the star?
Yeah, who was the star at the time. And it was like 25 years old, and it was with an audience all in their 20s, and they were laughing. They were thinking, because the music was great. She's playing a bloody Walkman in the film. It's like completely antique, you know? But it's lasted, and she was so, you know, she's so good in it, and the music's so good, and it's so timeless. And the reason that is because we never picked anything just from the time. We picked music that was just good over. I mean, it ranges from the Mamas and Papas, the Aphex Twin, to Stereolab, to crazy, like it's got Lee Scratch Perry in it. So it's like it's all these different kind of eclectic forces, and it's like, and it's awesome. And the reason it is because she was listening to the music while we showed it. And I got an artist, not a music supervisor, to help me choose that music with Sam. So she was in it, you know, and it was cool. I loved it.
But it's about what she's feeling at the time, what they're feeling, and that's why that music makes sense. It's not a playlist put together by some label.
No, it's about her dead boyfriend leaves her a tape. In the film, her boyfriend who, you know, offs himself, he leaves her this tape, you know, one of those back in the day, the cassettes, you know.
You know they're coming back, don't you?
I know they are. I heard it was a big deal now.
Yeah, except they're twice as expensive as they used to. Yeah, because why not?
I love tapes, rewind, fast forward.
You like things that don't play very well.
But it was like you know, when someone makes a really nice playlist, he's left it a playlist, and the film is the playlist, and she doesn't really say it during the film. She's like, I always saw her like a cowboy in a western, like she's inscrutable. But the playlist tells you that she's left, sort of tells you certain things about her, you know, or certain things about him in the relationship, you know.
I think that I want to get back to what you're saying about home, because it's interesting. You left home to make a movie about your old home, was your first film, and then your second film about somebody who's trying to find a place to perch that feels like a home. Yeah. And then you make another film about somebody who invades other people's homes.
Yeah. I suppose I'm seeing a theme here, yeah.
And then with Kevin, I think it's about what it feels like when what's supposed to be your home is never your home. I mean, that's for him. And I think that's why when you say you thought this was like Kevin, no, it's nothing like that to me, because that's about a lost soul. And this is about somebody who knows who she is but she just doesn't want to be where she is. And I think in some way,
Oh,
what?
someone's not dropped something. But that's actually, I never thought about all that. The idea that you're saying about the connection between them. That's really interesting. God, you're like a therapist, Elvis, you know?
If only I could heal thyself. But because I think so much of what you do as a filmmaker, especially when you're doing adaptation, is about saying, what are these people feeling? Because we can always, if we connect to them on an emotional level, then that can be a narrative. And the narrative in this book, in Die My Love, is just about, at a certain point, you just kind of, it starts to feel almost masochistic, which is a really hard thing. You know what I'm talking about. And you've got to introduce the way other people affect her, and between the relationship she has with Nick Nolte's character, which is really kind of wonderful because she's the only person who can kind of communicate with him, because he's the only person she's listening to.
Yeah.
I mean, that to me was kind of heartbreaking. This other sort of broken, angry person is the only person she's connecting with. And I just thought there's something terribly almost like Greek tragic about that.
Yeah, that's really interesting way of looking at it, because with Nick Nolte, it was always like, he's starting to get dementia, he's starting to lose his mind, and she's in a different planet too, but they kind of connect. And then with Sissy Spacek's character's Pam, she is in grief too, and in her own way, sorry, could have biting the mic. In her own way, Grace is kind of in a different universe too, but Pam recognises it. So it's really interesting, these two, father and mother-in-law, and the mother-in-law's lost her man.
Yes.
You know, but sees the couple, sees the couple somewhat in a more clear way than they do, I thought Sissy was amazing.
Oh my God. I mean, it was because, they did a movie together like the years where they played the Beats.
She showed me a photograph while I was shooting it, like the two of them looking absolutely stunningly gorgeous. They told me some stories, and I was like, are you kidding me, man? This is Sissy Spacek,
I mean, they're so perfect for those parts. You wish it were a better movie. It's not a good movie.
Yeah. I know it's a shame, but I don't know. She's just they're both legends, and the screen presence of both of them was just like, I was so like, oh my God. I mean, you could just put a camera in Nick Nolte and he was like, right, okay, that's fine. We don't need to worry about him. Anything he does is fine, you know what I mean? And her too. And there was this one time that was really odd, and it was quite an outer body experience for me, but Sissy's quite, we talked a lot beforehand. She really wanted to know things. I was like, she's never going to do this. It's like not a big part. But she kind of got into it, and anyway, there was one, I can sometimes go, I don't like that line on set, and just pull it, yeah. And then I pulled the line. I just went, oh, don't do it, maybe, that's not good. And she likes to be quite precise. She likes to know, exactly what she's doing. So once I pulled that line, it threw her. She was like, oh, hang on, what? And then so me and her had this bit of a meltdown in this kind of weird little shitty house in Calgary. And she just was like, Lynn, I can't act anymore. And I'm like, I'm the fucking Sissy Spacek. I'm the worst director in the world. I am so shit. I pulled her line and I've made her cry. She said she wouldn't act, she couldn't act anymore. I was like, the producers are like, what's happening? I was just like, fuck off, give me a minute. But honestly, it was like one of the strangest moments. I had an out of body experience. I was like, this woman is a legend of film, and I've actually maybe made her question her acting abilities. And I sat with her, holding her hand in this crappy little bedroom in a location in Calgary for an hour.
Oh my God.
Just to reassure him it wasn't her, it was me being an asshole and doing something last minute, so.
Wow. Yeah. Wow.
And I'll never, there's not many experiences like that. And she looked into my eyes and she said, don't know if I can do this.
Oh.
Yeah, it was wild,
Wow. I mean, that's a fascinating thing too, because generationally they were like the Jennifer Lawrence and Robert Pattinson of their time.
I think it was a precision. She's so precise. It was like I'd thrown her by being random, yeah.
But I mean, there's
My
also,
fault, yeah.
of course it's your fault.
Of course it's my fault. Since it's my saying, nah, it's my fault, yeah.
No, but I think though it's interesting because in some ways I think they reflect each other's acting styles too. I mean, she's kind of closer to him, to Pattinson, and she's closer. Jennifer's closer to Nick Nolte's style, where you just, where am I? Where's the camera? Let's go.
Yeah, definitely. And the thing that was really interesting was like Sissy would, she's such a loving soul. And she brought that, because in the script, the mother was a bit more batshit crazy. But she's like, no, I want love in this one. So we talked about love a lot. And what was beautiful about it, she kept going up to Seamus, the cameraman. Seamus, your camera work is so wonderful. And he's quite good. Yeah, it's not bad. Yeah. And then she'd come up she'd go, Jennifer's so great. Robert's so great. Lynne, you're a wonderful director. And I kept saying, can you follow me around here? Well, the shit's kind of hitting the fan, because she just make you feel good. So I'm kind of walking with this lady holding my hand going, tell me I'm a good director, because I really don't feel like a good director. I feel like a terrible director. So she just brought all this love to the set. And, and I saw her, the other day with the big screen, and it just, there's real genuine warmth and love in her, and it comes across. And she saw that. She saw the two women have to connect. She added something to it, as did all the actors, Yeah. You have to I see actors like part of the crew. You have to take their ideas, you throw out the ones that you don't like and bring in the ones that are much better than you had, and don't have an ego about it. Yeah.
Well, with that lesson in directing, let's thank Lynne Ramsay for...
Yeah. Okay, so...